Alright.
Now everybody wanna know the truth about a brother named Chris. Come from the country deep woods and the sticks. A lot of people already know exactly where it's at. Exit 32 by 30 on the map. Hustle Town, that's the name of my hometown. It's going down in the town where we run the underground. Niggas just be hating this shit, and that's a shame. Cause I ain't doing nothing but putting you up on game. To drop these lyrics for your ass and proving these haters about that life. We'll clap your ass twice when you hide behind the mic. Stock steady rising every time that I flow. Get no less than a stack for a show. So, that's how I'm living. I do as I please, you see. An OG still up on reality. You either serve time or probably so dope when you was born and raised in hope. Born and raised in hope. Born and raised in hope. Born and raised, born and raised, born and raised in hope. Born and raised in hope. Born and raised in Now, hope is the place where the homeboys chill, you see. Getting thrown with the grills up under the tree.
Growing up, there was a wide range, wide variety of music. I had musical encounters from a very young age. You know, influence started with my grandfather because he was a jazz musician. And so, you know, I got to experience firsthand when I was I can remember when I was 3 years old, going to a nightclub with him, you know, just messing around with his trombone and, you know, talking to all the different guys in his jazz band and, you know, playing the drums. Well, I was banging on the drums because I didn't know what I was doing. I thought you were supposed to just hit them hard as you could. I never understood why all the other guys were standing there with their ears covered, but, you know, more than ever, I realized that now I was keeping up a lot of noise. Like I said, I was experienced to a wide range of music, you know, the jazz and blues with my grandfather, and then growing up in my mom's household, my mom and my stepdad. My stepdad was very well-rounded as far as music. You know, I heard a lot of the old Temptations and Four Tops. I mean, just some of any and everything that you could think of. Confunction, Lionel Richie, Commodores, Cameo, Sugar Hill Gang, all of those. You know, I was experienced. Well, I experienced a whole bunch of different types of genres of music, but you know that was the thing that happened often on Saturday mornings. You know, it was house cleaning and music wide open. No telling what you might hear. So, you know, I still hold and cherish those memories dearly. Well, one of my favorites growing up was Marvin Gaye. I just loved, you know, Marvin Gaye was a bad man. And, you know, I even appreciate him even more now when I go back and listen to all, you know, the different musical type instruments and stuff, because, you know, that's just one thing that's always stood out with me, just the whole musical influence. During my time, you grew up singing and dancing to Michael Jackson. You know, that was just the thing then. And because with me, actually, I didn't start out, you know, writing songs or whatever. The way I started was actually writing poems, and you know, Christmas poems or whatever. And it was just something that always stood out as far as, you know, in my schools, in my classroom work or whatever, whenever we had to write poems, mine just for some reason always stood out. I guess they were better or whatever, and the teacher would always ask me, you know, to recite whatever I wrote. And, you know, from that time, then came along Run DMC and LL Cool J and Kool Moe Dee. You know, I started hearing the same type thing put with a beat. And I'm like, well, man. And I fell in love with hip hop from that point on, you know, and I guess the rest is history. She knew my musical passion, and I used to always ask her. Her name was Miss Hoagland, and I used to always ask her about working at a radio station, telling her how I would love to be a DJ there one day, and blase, and so it just went on from there. You know, after high school, of course, I started college, and I came home one summer, and she just reached out to me. You know, they were in the midst of needing a DJ, so she asked me, was I still interested in doing that? And I told her, yeah, shoot, yeah. And so, you know, they gave me the opportunity, and, you know, that everything just fell in line. No, I can do it all. You know, freestyling, I would tear you apart once you got on my bad side, or I felt like you was trying to attack me, or it's on. I'm gonna make you regret that. But, you know, by the same token, if you let me sit down and write, I can dissect you that way too. And, you know, with me writing, I just like to try to paint a picture where you can see every single thing that I'm talking about. I want you to be able to see it and feel it as I write it or as I've written it. But I think my favorite song that I probably wrote was My First Love. It's a metaphor, you know. My first love, it can be a lot. It can go in a lot of different ways, but I was mainly speaking to hip hop, you know. Been through a life of pain. You know what I'm saying? But through it all, we still together. You know what I'm talking about? I remember how it all began. First it was just you and me, alone in my room, didn't want nobody else to see. Just something about you put a sparkle in a nigga eye. If they tried to come between us, they would have to die. Love at first sight before I even touched the mic. Freestyles and beatboxing before I ever learned to write. Quick to step to any nigga trying to hold your hand. You was my lady and I forever wanted to be your man. We've been through happy times of sharing love and sharing pain. When I was doing bad, you helped me make it through the rain. The thought of you without me, that I could never see. Forever in this industry is all I wanted to be. Side by side, mic in hand, will be you and I. In the booth expressing love the way we felt inside. You've been with me from a boy till I became a man. I'll always love you, I'm gonna tell you every time I can. My first love. Ain't nobody love you like me. Ain't nobody gonna love me like I do. You know what I'm saying? It's from the heart. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? I'm tight. Total Conflict was actually a rap group which started out with me and Bobby Robinson and was Garland Neal. That was the original members of Total Conflict when I first started rapping, you know. That was just, I don't know, it was a name that I came up with, and it just stuck with us. And Crime Family. The Crime Family was what me and Sean Jacobs, me and Jake came up with. Crime Family was like our melting pot. All of our artists that we decided to put together under a Full Swing Entertainment label. And you know, it consisted of artists who I had under me and artists that Jake had under him. And we actually were more so like family. And it was Dirty Black, Lady Fat, this group called GHY, who's out of Spring Hill, Louisiana, Spring Hill and Plain Dillon. There was 4-5, Too Tight, Mr. V, they were GHY, and then we had Kid Fresh. He was out of Spring Hill, Louisiana. He was a heck of a producer. Back up in there.
Like we do, nigga. Put it down like that. On GP, yeah, General Pimpin'. From that HOPE, that's right. PIMP, AKA the MVP, VIGTIME. And list the band that these niggas can't stand. Tearing up shit with this mic in my hand. Now what's your plan? Cause I pimp this game like dangerously. It's full swing, motherfucker, who you came to see. And now I claim to be that nigga known to rhyme. And ain't no stopping these motherfucking hands of time. Rewind, and you can never find another like mine. Taking two at a time, putting that ass in a bind. Inclined to bring the havoc, big time. It's like a savage for the cabbage as I damage these niggas like tragically and magically. It had to be from that HOPE, that MVP, that MVP, that MVP. That's all I ever claim to be. That MVP, that MVP, that MVP. That's all I ever claim to be. That MVP, that MVP, that MVP.
It was 2016. I, went through a period of where, I was at a low point in my life because, in and out of my life, I had to deal with a lot of different sickness or whatever. But every single time that I've gotten sick, it's like music has been my therapy. Always been very therapeutic for me and brought me out of the darkest places. And this is, again, what happened with me in 2016. It's like music just saved me once again. And I just, for some reason, felt like I wanted to pick up the mic again. And then you and your brother and sisters, y'all all influenced me, encouraged me to do it, to see if, I still had it, which I knew I did. And so, I felt like that I needed to try it one more time just to see, could I still be an influence or, do what I used to do, which I did. I released 2 songs of, Literally, which made a whole lot of noise, and a song called I'm Just Saying. I released both of those, and I made a significant strides with those. I had a lot of streams and downloads, done countless interviews, not just in the US. I mean, it was worldwide, where I done different interviews. I had like 3 or 4 interviews lined up per week, different radio stations, different DJs. And it got to a point where I almost, again, signed another contract, but things just fell through. And, I was in the process of going ahead, gonna record an entire album. But then again, I experienced some type of sickness where I lost my voice and everything and just kind of pulled back from it. So that's where things stood on that. If I could change anything, it would be to just stick with it, when I was getting close to my highest peak, and not easing up. I would have gone to Atlanta probably 10 years earlier than what I did, because actually when I got to Atlanta, it was a couple people that I had talked to within the industry. I almost had a contract with J Records when I was in Atlanta. I presented a few songs to them, but timing is everything. I could tell, I was probably like a couple years too late, but they actually wanted to work with me and they wanted more material, and everything was just limited for me at that time. So I was the glue holding everything together, and once I started to pull back, everything just started to deteriorate, which, health reasons kind of pulled me back from going as hard as I was with everything. But then too, when you came along, not blaming you or anything, but you know, my responsibilities changed, and that's just the way I am. You know, I wasn't gonna put all the time and money into music like I used to, like I was, you know, once that responsibility came. And so, you know, other influences began to pull me away from it. But if I had it to do all over again, I'd have gave that extra push, and that probably would have catapulted me to the next level. But no, it was still something good to come out of it. You know, me and Jake talk about this all the time. You know, he ended up winning a Grammy, and he always say, man, that's our Grammy. You know, we worked hard together.
I'm literally doing it. I'm literally doing